Alright, guys, today we can take a look at the roster as of right now after the NFL draft. So, before free agency happens and possibly the Bengals sign some more free agents, here's what the roster is looking like, and it looks pretty dang good. So, let's start off right away. Quarterback is Joe Burrow and Jake Browning. So, obviously, they did not target quarterback in this draft. What's his name? Zach Taylor did mention in his in the press conference that they are still in talks with other quarterbacks, though, like Brendan Allen, like Trevor Siemian. They're in talks with a lot of different players because at the end of the day, yes, Jake Browning we believe is going to be the backup quarterback going into the season, but why not get more competition to look at during the preseason, right? And again, it does also give those guys chances to put tape out there to show they still have it in them, or some undrafted players. So the quarterback situation is a never-ending situation. They're always going to be looking at possible another player or other players they could possibly fill in at that quarterback spot. Now, the running back spot, based on what I understand, is very solidified. Zach Taylor said that Joe Mixon is the Bengals' future. They drafted based on having Joe Mixon as their starting running back. They could have took Tank. They could have took a couple guys who were more just bell cow backs, but they didn't. They took Chase Evans, right? If I am correct, hang on one second. Let me go down here. Yeah, Chase Brown. They took Chase Brown, who is more or less a speed demon / wide receiver running back combo. They took him because he complements Joe Mixon. While Joe Mixon's in between the tackles and a bell cow back, Chase Brown is not going to be that guy. Chase Brown is more or less this. He's a little bit more faster. He's like a Trevion Williams but faster. Or Chris Evans, but faster. He's a receiving back. He can also pass protect. So that's what they really wanted to do was, focus on our main running back is Joe Mixon, and then you have complementary pieces with him. So now you have Chase Brown, who's going to complement him, and Trevion Williams, who right now is number 2, but could possibly be number 3. Could possibly be number 1, depending on how the season kicks off. Again, the Joe Mixon saga, it looks like he is staying. Based on what I understand, they're going to ask him to take a pay cut, and he will be the running back moving forward. But Chase Brown definitely, he's going to be that guy. He's going to eventually become that guy, as long as he doesn't fumble the football, where he has a chance to be that rotation of running backs. Zach Taylor said before, sometimes you have 4 running backs on the roster. It is what it is. So all 4 of these guys could make the roster to Final 53 and be ready to go every single week. For receivers, they picked up Charlie Jones. Now, they picked up Charlie Jones and they picked up Audrey right here in the 6th round. Picked up DJ in the 7th round. Now, Charlie Jones is the big guy here because he's 24 years old, so he's definitely up there in age, but he is an absolute monster. He's going to be able to outbox people, and that's why they picked him up. Even Zach Taylor said in his press conference, it's not about speed. He says, if I talked one good thing about him, I wouldn't say speed. He goes, I would say his size, his ability to outbox people. And that is really why you go out there and get someone like Charlie Jones here, because you want someone who's going to be able to not only eventually possibly fill the role of Tyler Boyd. Again, at this moment in time, he has 1 year left on his contract. He might be going after this year. It is what it is. You want to find his heir replacement. And that's what you go out and get Charlie Jones for. Charlie Jones was a guy, and he went to Purdue, but based on what I understand, he's a guy who every opportunity he's ever gotten, he's taken advantage of. Every opportunity he's ever gotten, he just absolutely has exploded and, went above expectations. And that's why, again, another reason why they took him in the 5th round here is because they really like him for that reason. Actually, 4th round here is because they liked him for that reason. They think that he can come in and instantly contribute. And he's also really good at kick and punt returns. So he's also going to be a really huge special teamer guy. But we could see him get maybe 40, 50 receptions this year. He's definitely going to be a rotational guy where you bring him in certain situations where you give the other guys a breather. And he's not a liability, which is actually really awesome. For tight end group, they did not address tight ends at all in this draft. And again, Zach Taylor did mention this in the press conference that we are still going to be looking at free agent tight ends possibly to bring in. There's not really any too many good ones left, I'll be honest with you. But it is what it is. They go best player available at every pick, and the tight end was never the best player available on their board. So it kind of sucks because, Irv Smith, he has had a very recent history of injuries and not being able to stay on the field, but the hope is he can get to that point where he does stay on the field. And hopefully he can, keep up his production, because when he's healthy, he's one of the best tight ends in the league, but he has to stay healthy. Drew Sample is back, of course, and that's going to help us out a lot with blocking, but you want to have more vertical threat tight end, kind of plays that Hayden Hurst role. Irv Smith can do it if he can stay healthy. That's why we liked a lot of different tight ends in this draft class, but they all got taken. All right. Orlando Brown, left tackle. Jackson Carman, it does have him as a backup left tackle right here, but he will not be left tackle this season. He will be the right tackle. So as you guys can see, right tackle here says Jonah Williams, then La'el Collins, then Cody Ford. It's going to be a combination of everybody. So Jackson Carman right now at this moment in time, based on what I understand because of the recovery process of Jonah, it's going to be Jackson Carman's job right now. Now, if we get to the season and Collins is ready to go, it's Collins' job. If Collins is not ready to go, and Jonah Williams and Carman will then fight it out in preseason if he's ready to go too. It's going to be a combination of everyone competing for that right tackle position. They did not address tackle in the draft, and a lot of that reason why was because they liked the guys on the roster. Zach and Duke Tobin? Yeah, Duke Tobin had been very vocal about the fact that they think Jonah can transition to right tackle and be fine. And again, they also do believe Jackson Carman is stepping up and showing he could be a starting right tackle. He was a former second-round pick in 2019. They want to see production out of him. And so they didn't address it for the reason of that. Could they still go out there and get another player? Absolutely. There's still some free agent tackles out there that they could address. But at this moment in time, it looks like they're going to just kind of keep it in-house. Cordell Volson is going to be the guard. Teddy K and Kappa, all of them being back for another season. That would be why that was happening. For defense, the defensive line. Miles Murphy will be the immediate backup to Sam Hubbard, but that's really just the most, understatement you could ever possibly say. Because Miles Murphy, the first-round pick for the Bengals here, he will be a combination of everything. He won't just be a backup for Sam Hubbard. He'll be a rotational piece for B.J. Hill, DJ Reader, Trey Hendrickson. And based on what we understand from his press conference, he claims that he could also be a backup in coverage. So he could be in a role where maybe Logan Wilson is going to come off for a play, but maybe you put another linebacker in there with Logan Wilson. He can go with Logan Wilson in the coverage. So he's a very versatile piece. He can do pretty much a little bit of everything. So you're going to see him in roles that, you just did not expect to see a defensive end in. And that's why the first round pick here is so important on him, because he can do it all. And that's really going to change up this defense completely. Joseph back for another year, which is awesome as always. Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, linebackers. You already knew that was going to happen, as Jermaine Pratt came back with his contract. All right, secondary. This is where things get really interesting. So obviously, yes, Cheeto should be back by week 1, which will put the pecking order at Cheeto and Cam Taylor-Britt as 1 and 2. And then it will be Mike Hilton at 3, and then number 4, DJ Turner. Now, Sidney Jones is still on the roster. He got signed to a 1-year league minimum deal, so he could be cut. He might not make the roster, but at this moment in time, he is on the roster. Now, in the end, they could substitute some players in for safety, kind of move some players around if they needed to. So don't be surprised if Sidney Jones does end up making the team, just for that simple fact that they might just want rotational pieces. But for strong safety, we have the 3rd round draft pick here, Jordan Battle, who is going to be a rotational piece with Nick Scott, so 1A, 1B type scenario. This actually works out pretty fine because Nick Scott, while yes, last year I think he really came up on the scene and it was like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? He's actually playing pretty good when he finally got an opportunity. The last couple years got opportunities. And he's really shown off for the best he can do. So it's nice to see, if one game he's struggling a little bit and not doing that great, or maybe he's having a down game. You have Jordan Battle, you kind of rotate in and out with him to keep him fresh and not worry about that. Again, he's playing a whole new defense. He is playing with the mad scientist. Never he's playing mad scientist. So it actually works out pretty dang well. Dax is going to have to step up this year. There's no doubt about that. There's not even a question in my mind that Dax Hill is going to have to step up and really take over this reign here at free safety. I'm sure Jordan and Tyson here are going to help him out, but he's going to have to become a dominant free safety and really prove why he was a first-round draft pick last year. For kicker, punter, Evan McPherson is back as always, and Drew Chrisman is gone. We drafted a 6th-round punter, which actually, thank you Kansas City Chiefs for giving us a 6th-round pick on the trade, which actually got us Brad Robbins. And Brad Robbins now will be the starting punter for the Cincinnati Bengals moving forward. Now, Drew Chrisman will not just be cut right now. They will have a punting competition in training camp, OTAs, and then obviously preseason. So let's say, for example, obviously knock on wood here, it's not going to happen, but let's say Brad Robbins is not that good, and he's not that guy. Then obviously it's not like guaranteed, bro, you have the job, Drew Chrisman is gone. No, it just means that there will be a punting competition for that position between those two guys. Other than that, though, kick and punt returns, I know it used to be Trent Taylor and Travion Williams. As Travion is getting more acclimated with the offense and becoming more of a starter, as we talked about many times, he has really been busting his butt this offseason and really step up and become a dominant player in this offense. He believes that he can become a starting running back on this roster, which I don't think is crazy to say or outlandish to say in any kind of context at all. I think he could definitely become a starter on this roster, and I would love to see him do that. He's spending this whole offseason training, developing himself, isolating himself, and he's worrying about becoming a starter. He's really trying his best for this team. He said he wanted to earn the respect of his players, coaches and players around the whole entire NFL. He wants to become a household name, and I think that's beautiful, and I would love to see him do that. Now, for the kicker and punter, punt return and kick return positions, those we might see different guys on. Here's a fun fact. DJ Turner is fast as anything. He is a speed demon. So he could become a kicker or a kick returner or a punt returner. We might see a couple more extra, returns for 6 in next year because of that. But you also have Charlie Jones, who's a really good kick and punt returner. So we could see him possibly get a chance on kick and punt returns. And then, of course, you also do have Trent Taylor and Travion Williams. You have so many options. This is what you love to see. No one is going to have to worry about, someone, we'll keep punting the ball to us. We want a big punt return. You can rotate players in and out, which is awesome. This roster is absolutely a Super Bowl roster. Should be a really, really good next season, guys. Can't wait to see how this team develops. And again, like I said before, they will probably add 1 and 2 more pieces free agent-wise. It's very possible they add Zeke Elliott. But at this moment in time, other than Zeke, there's not too many more free agents I think they're going to be targeting. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.